Okay. Hello, welcome to the last workshop of this protothon. And this workshop is for motion design in UX. So today we'll introduce the next level of prototyping, motion design. So we will mention this word many times today. And first, starting with the introduction. My name is Chell. I have been interested in UX design since my high school. I've been always passionate about the UX design in gaming and the game design itself. And here's our assistant Yu.
Hi everyone. I am Yi, study interactive design in Taipei Tech and previously designer, user interface designer at NetEase Games. And by the way, this is my first full English presentation in my own life. So if you have any question, please feel free to tell us. Okay.
And by the way, big shout out to you for his awesome work on polishing and implementing this motion design on this motion design slides. And the first chat, feel free to introduce yourself a little bit and what are you interested about motion design? Like, is there any specific thing you want to know about motion design? Let's hold for a couple of minutes. The easiest software to use for motion design. I wouldn't say there is a easiest one, but it mostly depends on what kind of motion you're going for. So in the industry, I think most of the time for the professional use, After Effects by Adobe will be a first pick because it is good for complex and more fancy animation or motion. But for today's workshop, we'll be introducing using Figma to create a really simple or I would say enough to use in most of the product. Okay, so meanwhile, here are some creations that me and Yu Han has done before. These are our creations. So for the left one is my previous work, a mobile app prototype called Kosha. It's a platform for the communication between cosplayer and photographers. And the two on the right side is made by Yu. The top one is a short animation of building in MD style, which is the material design style icon. The bottom one is an announcement system motion design for a subway train, which is being adopted partially by the actual subway train in China, Shenzhen, which is awesome. So next, there's two parts in our today's workshop. So part one is the talk, including 4 topics about motion design, the definitions, the types, the importance, and its principle. And on the part 2, we'll moving to Figma and I'll teach you how to solidify your motion ideas to a prototype. I'm sure you'll like it and it will be very useful and it makes your prototype shine in the actual prototype doing on your prototype. So let's start. What is motion design? On Wikipedia, motion design definition, it explained that it is graphic design, but with adopting the filmmaking principles. It's so what is filmmaking and video production context and what are those? So basically, simply say, it's moving graphics. So anything that looks good and it moves. Well, motion design, when we say animation, generally it's in the video production. So it's for sit and watch, like your movie or your anime. and or some little animations, but we often see short animations products too, which is animation for the final products. For example, this one. Oh, is this too loud? Hope it's not too loud. So this one is the oh, you can't hear. Sorry, I have to manage the sharing again. I'm sorry. Okay, I think it's good now. Can you hear it right now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is a example of a short animation product. So it is cool. It is a for promotion use, and you can sit and watch. And for this one is a example of a motion design in UX, which assists the product, but it's not the product itself. Today's topic focuses on the one on the right, which is a UX design, the motion design in UI. Motion design in UI does not stand by itself. That's the point. Okay, next. So notice here in UX design, motion design separate itself from the generic term animation. But so where do you see motion design? Actually, any interfaces, a design system, website, Internet of Things, your smart devices, it's everywhere. Here we have some fancy examples. So this one is a download button, which has a fancy animation with the progress. And this one is a loading screen having a jumping food for indication. And this one is a website design with a strong motion intro. So when you scroll the website, it will shows up and has a big impact on the visual effects. Yeah, very fancy. And here are some easier and simpler ones. So the left one is so the two of them are all made by CSS, which is a website design, part of website design, web development. And yeah, these are some effects that you can use on your website. And the next. So here are some examples that is more doable for beginners. And we will teach one of them in the later Figma part. So you will see that these three little animations are really look similar because they are all part of the design system called material design, which is made by Google, a design system that it's clean and interactable. Anyway, we'll talk about this later. And the one thing about material design, it's simple, but yet enough for users to be noticed. It has a subtle animation to follow. And the next. Okay, so why do we use motion design in UX? So from the perspective of science, humans' peripheral vision, which is our sight vision, is good at catching moving objects. In the sight vision, in the book, so with the book saying, even slightly, anything that moves at our peripheral vision is likely to draw our attention. So this feature is built up pre-human because we humans are selected for the ability to spot food and avoid predators, which means even you are looking at the center of the screen, the notification window down that below that pops up from the right bottom corner is still very visible to you. And then I'll be introduced more reason to use motion later in our examples. So here, there are two distinct types of animation, formal and casual. A good motion needs to fit the product tone. So a business product has more serious interfaces, and entertainment applications like games usually have fancier looks. Here we have more examples to show. Okay. This is a game called Ring Fit Adventure. It's a console game on Nintendo Switch, which is dedicated to home workouts. I know it's very popular during the COVID time. To progress the levels, player need to do various body actions to attack the monsters. So let's play it. So look how the instruction text here, in the instruction text here, slowly waves, and following it, the player may unconsciously adapt to the yoga slow-paced movement, because this is a yoga move. And along with the peaceful background music, let's hear it again.
Stand up. No need to rush, though.
So this is a rather peaceful background music to follow with the yoga move. And you will notice that on top of the monsters, players' hard work, which is your yoga moves, pays off, and every move gives the monster a powerful hits. Powerful hits. The strongness of the power is demonstrated by the exaggerated and active motions of the text. And here's another example. Okay, this exercise is more exciting. This is a fast-paced knee lift exercise.
Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. 20 more. Right, left, right.
So watch how the instruction text bounces with the beats in the sound effects and the background music.
5 more. Left, right, left. Right, left.
So this visual motion here is way faster than the yoga one, and it synchronizes with the sound, which brings an immersive environment. About the immersive environment, we will talk more in the later slides. And the next example is from Twitter. So when we hit the like button of a tweet, the heart button will burst like it has a little cracker celebrating your likeness. This visual motion feedback is a reward to the user. So Twitter uses this appealing little animation to appreciate user input, and the user likes the heart animation, and they may feel great to hit likes, they may say. Then the motion motivates the user to make more engagement on Twitter. So users win, the who tweets this win, and Twitter also win because they all get engagement. And the next, so similar to the Twitter one, Instagram Live also has a special animation for like. So here we see. The like button is here on the right bottom of the screen. When the viewer smashes the like button, like smashing smash. On the streamer side, streamer will also see the same popping up heart animation on the real time. And this is a communication created. This time the viewer conveys their likeness and to the streamer. And the streamer also gets feedback from the viewer. So they will know that, oh, this is real time and this action make my viewers really happy about it, and maybe I can do more about this action. So the like icon here is also a exaggerated motion. It enlarged the feedback, and it tells the user that your like is very appreciated by the streamer and is very, very valued. So it also motivates the viewer to like more. And one more example about the casual style motion design. So here on GitHub's landing page, there is an interactable globe that shows real-time submission across the world. This motion design doesn't help the user to write a better code or be a better programmer, but it helps to express the idea of the product because it's a landing page of GitHub. People don't log in, can't see this, but if you're already logged in, you can't see this because you're already a customer. So one special thing about this is it shows the potential of a web-based animation other than static pre-made videos, and brings up the theme of GitHub that has a large group of users across the world, and they are submitting all the time because this animation is generated real time. So the GitHub link is posted in the chat. If you go on it without login, you'll see this, and it's very, very interesting to see, and it's interactable. When you click on the actual link, the actual lines, you are be directed to the code. It's maybe too fancy for you guys, but it's okay. Don't worry of this. Certainly a bit advanced to make at this time. Well, next, so type of motion has a formal one instead of the casual move. So let's hold for 3 seconds. What kind of animation do you remember from Gmail? Chat? You may think, does Gmail actually has animations? What kind of animation does it have? Right, the Gmail logo appears when the inbox loads. That's for that's like a placeholder for incoming letters, right? Yeah. So look at that. Most of you are thinking about the splash screen, which is the loading screen. What I mean is, so the loading screen is a fixed screen that you'll stare at for a couple seconds. If your computer is really, really slow, it may appear for more than 10 seconds. So usually that will be a short and looped animation. And on the other hand, inside Gmail, in the Gmail app, when it's already loaded, there's really less animation that you can see, and they're really subtle. Here's an example. So the hamburger menu on the left top has a motion, and it brings up the drawer menu. It eases in and out very quickly. You might not even notice it. So this motion happens only after uses input of clicking. So you won't see it until you click on it. And the next. This motion happens before user's input. This little arrow indicator expands when it is hovered, which hints the user that there is something yet hidden and that only opens when you click on it. So this motion only happens when you hover on it. Oops. Okay, cool. And this one is a notification for Windows desktop. These examples are not from Gmail though. These examples are not triggered by users' input at all. Remember we have, when you click on, it has a motion, and when we hover it, it has a motion, and this one is when you, when it tries to get your notified. Then it has a flash in effect, and it will flash out after a few seconds in a slower way to not get you notified again. And next. So in conclusion, the product wants the user to focus its services without too much distraction. The serious ones are just aiming to notify the change of element, just the change. If there's no change, we won't distract you. So it only has an animation where it's essential. Motion design in formal products should be minimalist and guiding. You have to try to be invisible in your formal product when using motion. But on the other hand, entertainment applications have a casual UI style and are usually trying to grab all your attention. They want you to focus and stay on the application as long as you can and enjoy more of their contents. Like in TikTok. In the next video, so for the next video, you scroll up along the current video page by a simple slide, and it's so easy to jump to the next fantastic content. So it keeps the user stay on the app. Even it's a simple slide. Because it's too simple, so the user will do this action more often, which shows more content to the user, which attracts the user stay in TikTok. And now we can extract some general principles. So the first one is informative. So it aimed to notify user the change of the element for them to catch the new information easier. So motion design informs user by highlighting relationships between elements, action availability, and action outcomes. It hints the user about where the action leads to. The one example we had before about material design, which you hit a button and it will lead you to another card, is informative. So the next is focused. For this one, we didn't give a really good example, but you can see here the phone call. It waves animation that constantly moves to grab your attention to the incoming call, because a constant animation is present for incoming call, because incoming call need immediate reaction. You will miss this call if you don't see this animation, right? That's why it is focused. So motion focuses attention on what's important without creating unnecessary distraction. Think about this: when you hold your phone and you get a phone call, your whole screen is animated for your phone call without showing other applications, because they want you to focus on the incoming call. And the waving on around the phone, it exists so it can explain better what they're doing. Some people may not understand the phone icon, but with the phone shaking and it has a ripple around it, it's like the sound effect in motion design. And the next one, expressive. Expressive motion celebrates moment in the user's journey as character to common interactions. And it can express a brand style. Example will be the GitHub Globe, which doesn't serve a function, but it just to amuse, to delight, or promote the product. It's a add-on to the existing description. Like you can see the GitHub description on the left, but there is a motion design on the right to show how it actually looks like and give you a visual feedback. And the next one. Okay, here are the actual motion design principles. There's 10 of them, a lot, right? Such a lot. How do I remember all this? Actually, it is okay. You don't need to remember all of them because most of them are used not in the product design, but more for general animation design. In the product design, as I said before, you won't need this really eye-catching animation, but yeah, we will introduce something simple. So in UI design, the motion is fairly simple and natural. Its principle focuses on three things. So type of transition, speed, and acceleration, which is curve. We have three typical transition types. The shape, so change in shape, like shrinking and expanding, and change in opacity, like fading in and out, and change in position, which is easing along a path. The speed is the duration of the animation, a simple one, nothing else to explain. And acceleration. So acceleration, we often call it a curve. So because we use a curve to illustrate the acceleration. Here is a time and here's a progression. The curve shows how the animation progressed with the time. And the key thing about a curve is creating motions and make it looks natural. So how do we make motions that looks natural? We have the reality to follow. Why? Because think about how objects move in real life. So this animation, no, this is actual footage, not the animation. This footage is about how a ball bounces on the floor. It indicates that, it shows that the ball will decrease its height after each jump. How do we use this? Why do we need this? To make your motion feels natural, it has to follow the real world physics rule. And here's example. A lovely animation of adding an item into a shopping cart. So this is example of using an actual moving shopping cart and adding things to it as a real life example. And this is how motion designer translate the real life moves to a visual hint to the user. And this could be used in a website or an app, which has has a visual feedback to you instead of just saying, okay, add it to cart, but now we have visual impacts on the user. And the second way is the skeuomorphism. So anyone remember the skeuomorphism design? It is pretty popular 10 years ago. I think it's really popular when iPhone 4 is out. No, around iPhone 3 or 4 is out. It's really, really popular because it is a design style that shows the object like how it looks like a real life. Look at how this game center looks like. So it mimics a table, a casino table, or it's a pool table. Yeah, it has a greenish background, which has a texture of it. And this one is a bookshelf of iBooks, so the application for reading books. It shows the books frame, but also the actual bookshelf. So it gives you a hint, like here is the actual bookshelf. Same as the on and off button, on and off switch. It's kind of similar to the real life switch. And the Find My Friends one, it is trying to mimic the actual contact book that in real life. So they all have those detailed ornaments. At the beginning of app design, 10 years ago, designers use this way to remind what does the app do and how to use it. Because 10 years ago, people are not so used to apps. What do you do with smart devices? That's really new to the earlier people and the earlier user on smart systems. And today, now we shift to a flat design. We don't see skeuomorphism anywhere. Then how do we visually tell the user about the usage? We can use motions. So the ornament to skeuomorphism is a motion to modern UI, modern flat UI. It serves a function that not only makes it pleasing, but also assists understanding of its use. We can actually make a card here, which is too small and too detailed for today's visual taste, but having a motion make it easier to understand. And also today's modern design has a rather flat style. So a motion design on the flat style is easier to make for designers. And now let's go for a developer view for let's invite you to introduce this part.
Thanks, Chell. To implement motion from design onto product, it needs to be transformed from a prototype into a functional product. So this is a basic 3 ways to build your design to real. Next.
Next slide.
Yeah. So you can play it. Yeah. In my real life work, the UX flow logic and UI composition needs to be documented in detail to our professor motion designer within the game engine. So this is the sample we work after we talk. and we need to helping motion designer to complete the motion case study. So let's wait.
Next slide.
This is no. This is my case study resource library I often used. I sent into chat. It is very helpful for people want to join game industry. Yeah. Okay, next.
Next.
A quick demo is worth 1,000 words. Sometimes I also make demos to better presentation my ideas. Here is the sample of the friend system to manage your friends. Next, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the sharing of your real life work in NetEase Games. And now we're going for hands-on time, yay! Let's move to Figma. And there will be a link in the chat. Can you help me to send the link?
Yeah. Here we go.
Can you see this? Are we sharing this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, let me close the slides now. Okay. Okay, so we have actually two examples on making basic and advanced. No, I'm not asking you, Google Assistant. Okay. So you can play it by clicking on the right top play button, and it has 3 flows on the left hand side. So if you want to play with it, feel free to click on the title and hit duplicate to duplicate this draft to your own draft. So let's look at the basic one. So the basic one looks like this. We have a icon. No, we have a let's say an important icon here. We click it and expand to a card, and we click the card. We enter the card. So this is a basic one, and we click the whole screen. It shrinks down. So here we're using our previous principle, which is informational, and it shows the hierarchy between different cards and different buttons. Let's jump to the workshop. So here in the basic one, we have 3 canvases, 3 frames actually. If you have attended the last workshop that we have for Figma workshop, it will tell you the basic usage of Figma, but we'll skip directly into how to make the motion here. So first, we start by having a ellipse here, and we create a button. Hold Shift to make it looks like a circle instead of ellipse. So I've created ellipse, and yeah, in basic 4 frame ellipse 3. I'll change the name to let's call it important button. Okay, just call it that. So This will often happens when your application is having a compose, or for example, in Twitter, this button will be tweet, and it will have a it will have a pop-up to say, okay, you can write here. So let's have a rectangle here, and we want to make it a bit rounded so they will see they have the same style. Okay, here we have a rectangle here. And on the third one, we want to move the rectangle all over the screen. So I'll just copy, actually Control C, and here Control V. It's copied here. And we want to make it whole screen. Now it's whole screen. Okay, let's make it looks more material. Give it a color. I'll just use, yeah, why not? Yeah, this color is good. Okay, then we're adding some animations to it. So you may notice that these three are the same element when in moving. So by giving interactions with them, so first select the prototype here and select your elements. And here's a plus sign and drag it to the second one. And here, drag it to the next one. So it creates interactions between them. And by selecting the line here, you can choose interaction details, which is how you want animated. Here we have options in animation. So we choose smart animate for first. And usually we can say is in and make it smaller. So why the default is 300 ms? Because anything that basically larger or longer than 300 ms will make the user feel impatient. Yes, that's real little time, but it will already make the user feel the animation is too long. So it's better not to be longer than 300. And let's see. It doesn't move like what I have here, right? That is because in here we have the animation here for the basic one example. We have a different animation. So before to try the different animation yourself and see what kind of animations you feel is more appropriate to your product. You can try it now. And you can make different animations different from mine. Oh, by the way, don't forget to add a shadow to it because it will make the buttons looks elevated. So by applying shadows on the right bottom, there is an effect, and plus the default one is a drop shadow. For now, I don't want to change the settings. It's okay. Oops. Wait, what happened? Right. Okay. One thing about the animation is be careful. They need to have the same elements. So in basic 5 and basic 6, we have different elements. I think this will fix the problem. Yes. Figma recognize the different names. That's why we need to change them to the same name. Important button, and this is also important button, and this is too. And now they looks like the same thing. And how do I make it back? So same, drag it back to this screen and give it a animation here. So when we play it, it looks like this. So I click the compose button and I have a card and I write something and I want to send. Here, I send it and it gives me a full. Oh, how do I get the arrow fixed? So previously when I click on the button and it doesn't transfer to this rectangle, but this rectangle transfers to this big screen rectangle. That's because when I'm creating those elements, I use the primitive shapes. For the rectangle, I use the ellipse, but for this one, I use another rectangle. That makes them having different names. And I fix them by changing them into the same name, important button. So be careful about the elements you're naming. That's important to the animation here. Does this clarify? And of course, you can make much more harder or we have another. The element name must be same whether they're yeah. So as long as they have the same name, whatever it's a group or it's a frame or it's whatever, they have to be in the same name to having the smart animation. So here, smart animate in Figma, it only recognizes the same name. Let's say we have a for example, we have a, let me use my plugin on Unsplash. I'll give this, a wait, image. I'll give this, okay, I give it a image. So when you animate it, it will look like this. Oh, you must notice they are different things. This one is a button, and this one in your design, it's a photo, it's an album maybe, and it transfers from green to this filled album. That's how you use the same name element for animation. Okay, let's move on to a more advanced one. This is a bit hard to make, but it looks really cool. So let's see the advanced one. Oh, we have another question. So a shape transition into the photo just because they have the same name? Yes. Because
yes.
just because they are the same name. That's how Figma animation works. But it may different in other software. So here in the advanced one, it looks like this. Ooh, very smooth, right? You can try it yourself by change the flows to a different one. And do you notice how many elements are moving this time? When click the play icon, it goes here to fill the playing background, and also this part changes. So I made it a colored one for a better illustration. So in the colored one, everything that moves, everything that has animation is green. So here is green, here is green, and here are green. Everything else are the purple are not changed. Why this one feels more natural? Be noticed this workshop may last a bit longer. So we may need about 5 or 10 more minutes. So let's look at how these elements are made. Okay. Well, I won't teach you in detail that how I make because it takes about maybe 20 minutes for a beginner, but I'll just simply introduce you. So, so first the play icon. I'll use this green one actually. Go to the prototype. Be sure go to the prototype because the prototype panel is for the interactions. So click on this. I didn't get what you said about same colors for animating objects. It's not really something about the same color. What I was saying is the color doesn't matter. Only the color and the content of the element doesn't matter. Only matter is the name. They should be the same, and Figma will recognize them as the same object and smart animate them. Okay. So things to notice here is we from the start frame go to the second frame and the third frame and this frame. We have two intermediate production. Instead of jumping from here to here, we have two intermediate small icons here. So if you're on the viewer view of a Figma file on the right side, I think you're available to inspect this to see its animation if you're not duplicating this to your own draft. So these two intermediate frame tells this button where they should go in the between. So normally from this to this, it will go directly to the center. But having the intermediate, it goes in different paces, follow the physics, and then go to the final frame. And same as the ending one. So when we click on here, it moves to the middle bottom and goes up, then go to the starting point, which creates a smoother feeling of motion. Compare this. Oh, this is so straight, right? Straight on the point. But this one feels more natural. And same as the menus here. You'll notice that here we have a slight moving effect here. That's because I changed the opacity and the size of the position of it a bit. So actually these elements are still visible here, but I set the opacity to 0 so you can see it. Here, the layer is invisible here. It has a zero opacity. So here same. It is here, but it's invisible. That's how it transfers from here to here with a bit fading effect. Okay, I think I'll leave this file for you to play with, and we won't go into detail on this, but because it's pretty fun to make it yourself, I think. This concludes all of our today's presentation. Oh, by the way, there is one important thing that is our reference, not really reference, but resources for your further. Wait, is this shared? For your further exploration on making motion design. Any
You can
what?
copy paste that on the chat. That would be cool.
Oh, okay, sure. Can I copy paste it?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Chell and Yuhan, for a very, very cool presentation with motion design, because that's not something that we usually are taught at all. So that was very cool. Things that you probably like, hopefully you guys learned some really cool interactions which you could do with prototyping, and will probably help give you that, get the edge and that wow factor for your interactive prototypes. And another tool that you could potentially use for presentation is Framer, which is a design tool like Figma, but more interaction focused. So they have way more, it's much easier to have cooler animations there, motion design.
But Framer needs a bit coding.
Yeah, it still needs a little coding. If you guys know how to code, that might be your thing.
Yep.
Yeah. It is over time, but if you guys have any, we could probably wait for about 5 more minutes. If you have any questions, just put it in a chat.
Thank
Seems like everybody just wants to
you.
go and get lunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, Xiao and Yuhan. Yuhan, I think like just directly went to sleep right now. We're really tired, probably 5 a.m. in China. But yeah, really appreciate that.